Hi guys, welcome to our cozy, small, under 1,100 square foot home. We are a family of 4 living here, and listen, we are a far cry from rich. And so because of that, I have really had to hone in on the art of intentional thrifting for my home and my clothing. So I'm really excited to bring you all in today, give you a little home tour, and show you some of my very favorite thrift finds that I have collected over the past decade that has really made our home filled with character, history, and just made it feel really warm and intentional. So come on in and I'll show you around. Let me just kick us off here with the elephant in the room. I cannot count how many comments I get about our sofa and where it's from. We got this secondhand from a sweet lady out of Nashville, and she had it in an upstairs room in her house and really never put it to good use. So we were thrilled to get something like this for a fraction of the cost. And she did say, if my memory serves me correct, that it came from Macy's. So I'm not sure if they still have it or not, but it's been a wonderful sectional for our small space. All of the pillows you see are thrifted. I love looking for neutrals like golden shades, soft greens, and browns, and I especially love mixing materials like linen and velvet. Even though I tend to lean more neutral for pillows, I do adore mixing things like stripes and block prints like this red one I found for a pop of color without being too overwhelming. This crystal vintage chandelier is definitely one of my favorite thrifted items in the house. I can't take credit for this though. My mom and my stepdad actually found this for me. They knew I had been looking for one for a really long time, and I was having trouble finding one that was small enough for my tiny space. A lot of the crystal chandeliers are ginormous and they would just look really out of place. And so they found this one when they were on a trip. I cannot even remember where they were. Maybe they were in Kentucky somewhere, but they found this one and it is everything that I could ever dream of. I feel like it's maybe from the 80s. I'm not really sure. Maybe you guys have a better eye for that type of thing as far as dates. But it is just so beautiful. I love crystals. I mention that a lot. And so this is just a beautiful statement piece for this room. Moving on to the shelving in our living room, and I love having shelves because it allows me to switch out these pictures as I please without having to commit to holes in the walls. The thing I love most about this beautiful vintage fruit art is the navy matting on it. Since my walls are a much softer blue, the deep navy matting really gives the room a richer feel with contrast. This little vintage bronzy frame I got for just a few dollars, and I thought it would be the perfect frame to put a little photo of my wedding bouquet in. I actually have 2 of these scribble style drawings, and I do not know what they are, but I love them and I love the abstractness of it. So if you have any idea what this might be, let me know in the comments below. I also snagged this mini etched piece in an antique store for $3 one day. It's got a historic European style building on it, and I just love the red matting with the gold frame. I fell in love with this one at a thrift antique store as well, and honestly was afraid it was going to be expensive, but they only wanted $15 for it. I felt like the room needed some more soft feminine features, and this did just that without leaning too pink for my liking. I originally thrifted this little floral piece for my daughter's room, and then when I moved that larger navy matted one into my living room, I was just obsessed with how that navy looked on my blue walls, so I wanted to incorporate another pop of that. Okay, aside from my couch, this is one of my most asked about pieces. Typically, when people come into my home, everyone wants to know where I got this wooden arched mirror, and I always smile and say Goodwill. I scored this beauty for $14, and you can imagine the jaws that were dropping as I walked through the store with it spilling over in my cart. I have been obsessed with blue and white designs for the past year or so, and my mom gets to go thrifting a little bit more than I do, so I told her to be on the lookout for a vase like this. I just gave her a bunch of photos of ones that I loved on Pinterest, and it wasn't but maybe just a few weeks before she gifted me this beautiful one that she had found. If you love brass items or little bells like this one, you will have a ton of luck around Christmas time in thrift stores. I got this one in the Christmas decor section and I love it so much that it stays out all year long. I recently revamped this little entry table with family photos as I feel like we have slowly gotten away from that in our homes. And this crystal one is one of my very favorites. And every single one that you see here has been thrifted for just a few dollars. I wasn't kidding when I said I love crystal things. This little candy dish is another favorite. It's so traditional and classic, which I love, and I typically keep peppermints inside of it for a pop of red during Christmas time. Along with a few others, this thrifted lamp stays on 24/7. I love having small, warm, low light lamps in my house like this just to light up the space in a very soft way at night. You probably thought that this bronzed JFK bust was thrifted, but fun little fact, it's actually a family heirloom. Someone in my dad's family had it, and then they passed it on to him, and he had it in his office. And then after he passed away, my mom was like, "Do you want the JFK bust?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna have to take it." Really, because it is just so cool. It's such a beautiful piece. To be honest, I am not like a huge fan of JFK's character. We cheated on our wife way too many times. But it's a cool piece, and I actually have a little Santa Claus hat, like a small kids one that I put on him at Christmas time. So he's just really, really cool. This antique wood side table was also thrifted because my space is small and I don't really have the room for a large traditional side table. So this one just works perfectly here. I think the legs on it are stunning and I really just love all the little etched details on it as well. If my memory serves me correctly, I paid $8 for this vintage bird print. I got a set of two of these. They look just a little bit different, and I recently gifted one to a friend for her baby girl's room. And even this little candle was thrifted, brand new, not too terribly long ago. And as you can see, I light it all of the time. Now, my entertainment center shelves are filled with little thrifted trinkets, but I'm just gonna show you my all-time favorite one, and I think it redeems the JFK. So here it is. We love Jesus around here. This is super heavy, by the way. And it was really funny. My husband and I went out for a Valentine's Day lunch, and we popped into a new thrift store, which honestly did not have a lot of stuff. It wasn't a very exciting thrift store, but we saw Jesus sitting on a fireplace mantle, and they wanted $4 for it. $4 for Jesus. We are bringing Jesus home. Absolutely. And we love him. I love having a coffee table filled with little treasures, and I'm constantly playing around and switching things up here. It wasn't too terribly long ago that I got this little blue and white dish, as well as this gorgeous printed book. I love using books to decorate in my home, and I often find pages also that inspire me, and I open them up for display like you see here. Funny little story about this. My mom came in and she was like, wow, this book is really beautiful. And I was like, yeah, Mom, I bet you do think it's beautiful. You're the one who bought it for me for Christmas. Seriously, though, her gifting is her love language, and she gets so much for people for Christmas. I'm not surprised she forgot about this one. Now, my home definitely does not lean coastal at all, but I still love incorporating large seashells, and honestly, recently found a love for ship pictures, like pictures of ships. I think that those are really beautiful and they work really well even if you don't have a coastal style home. I think that I picked this large one up for, I don't know, I might have paid $5 for it at the thrift store, and it's a beautiful little neutral statement piece that sits on my coffee table. Moving into the dining room, and I am so excited to share with you my most recent thrift find, which was this incredible chandelier. And buckle up, because I'm about to tell you what I paid for it. I paid $9.99. I spent $10 on this thing. The moment that I saw it in the store, I knew that I was bringing it home. My husband was saying that, just the bulbs in this are probably more than $10, and he's got a great point there. Before we bought this chandelier, we had this very simple light fixture that I actually spray painted at one point. It was silver, and it was nice and it served its purpose, but I was ready for a switch. And I would also like to add that our ceiling and trim is still a work in progress, but I'm glad that it's not done for the sake of this video, because I just want to say that no one's home is perfect, and the truth about home ownership is that a home is really never finished. And it's so important to just lean into that and do what you can as you go, and find contentment in the parts that are beautiful while you work to make it all complete. If you've been following me for some time, then you probably remember my thrifting adventure where I revamped my entire dining room table. I got the tablecloth, the woven chargers, all the glassware, and this beautiful crystal vase filled with hydrangeas all in one day, and it was so much fun. I will be sure to link the video below if you want to check out that entire transformation. So my table and my chairs are secondhand. We got this table, it's real wood, off of Marketplace, and I think that we only paid like $40 for it, which is crazy for real wood. It has beautiful slimline legs. I initially wanted to redo it because I felt like it leaned a little bit yellow, and I wanted it to be a little bit more of that soft natural blonde, but that's a project for another day, and honestly it doesn't look awful at all, so it is fine. It's in really great condition. The chairs, I think I paid $20 a piece for these, and these are really expensive chairs, and so to pay $80 for a set of 4 was honestly a dream. This beautiful upholstered striped bench was a secondhand marketplace find as well, and it originally came from Target and was part of the Studio Mickey collection. They had it styled in a living room as a coffee table, but I thought that it would be a wonderful addition to our dining room just to see a few more people. The black and white gallery wall here in my dining room is a mix of thrifted finds and secondhand. Now, I did have to spray paint a few frames black just to make it more cohesive and feel the way that I wanted it to, but I feel like it really showcases how art doesn't necessarily have to match, it just has to belong, and every piece here has its own personality, but together they have created this really calm, collected space over time. Let's move on to my kitchen now, and I know I've definitely said this before, but incorporating blue and white pieces like this truly fit any home in my opinion. These blue willows are a classic, and you can find them at almost any antique store. Usually the smaller plates run around $3 each and the large ones around $8. So if you see them for more than that, definitely go somewhere else and try again. This one's kind of fun. This is one of the first really like home decor thrift items that I ever bought at the Goodwill. It's just this black vase pitcher, and I just use it and put flowers inside of it. But I love this type of thing because if you do have real flowers, then you can just put them in a cup or a mason jar and then stick them down inside of it, so that works really well. Usually this sits on my dining room table with a runner, and that's a more practical way to live every day when you have little kids. The way that I've set it up today is special. It's for you all or for hosting, but what brought me over to this corner is probably, oh, this one's a good one. This is an oil painting that I got. I remember when I took it up to the checkout counter, the lady was like, "Where did you find that?" Like, she was very impressed, and rightfully so. It is just stunning. I don't know who made this. This looks like something that would be extremely expensive in an antique store, but I truly found it thrifting. And I cannot remember what I paid for it, but I know that it was not a lot. But it is so cool. It sits here on my kitchen counter and it makes me smile every time I see it. There came a point where I felt like my kitchen did not match the same eclectic feel of the rest of my home, so I decided to add in a bunch of warm pieces to the back wall. And I really just got creative here one day, and I think I only had to go to 2 different stores to find all of these pieces. A little hack to do something like this effortlessly is to trace the items on paper and then hang the paper up first with tape to see how the shapes look there without committing to holes immediately. And that is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of stress and a lot of trouble. So when I moved into this house, my husband had kind of made it a little bachelor pad. And so because of that, he chose a lot of grays and whites and stainless steel things. And it was actually amazing for a man to design it the way that he had on a foundational level. But for me, I just did not like how cold it felt in this room, and so my job was really just to warm everything up. And so one of the ways that I did that was to cover the stainless steel dishwasher, and you can buy these little magnetic rods on Amazon, and I actually had a pretty pricey curtain in my Amazon cart, and I was about to buy it. I could not find any fabric anywhere that I liked, and I was about to just bite the bullet and do it. And then I went antiquing, which this is the last thing that you would think that you would find antiquing, but don't forget to look for fabric because this was there and it is just so beautiful and I feel like it warms up the space so much, and honestly it exceeds the look of the one that I was gonna buy on Amazon. I just think that this is so pretty. It is so simple. All you need is a little bit of fabric glue. All I did was measured the size of this, put a little fabric glue on the back side of it, and then it just slid right in. And that was all that it took. I didn't have to hem anything or do anything special. And I just love how this transforms my cozy little eclectic kitchen. This is one of my favorite thrifted DIY projects I've ever done. I found these gold frames one day that had some pretty outdated bird prints in them, and I bought all four, not knowing what in the world I was going to do with them, but all that I knew was that I loved the ornate gold frames and I love ovals and I just couldn't pass them up. So then I had the idea that with a family of four, I should put our silhouettes in them. I just took pictures of each of our profiles and then used a little Photoshop tool to create this. And this is also nothing more than a printout using a standard home printer. I thought I was going to have to get them done professionally printed, to make it actually look good. But once I printed them and put them in the frames, it's just kind of a trial run. I thought they looked fantastic and I just left them. Moving into my son's room now, and some of my favorite thrifted items in here are actually on his bed. This brown buffalo plaid was a $5 find, as well as the vintage faded American flag pillow. I also picked up this sweet little vintage inspired woolly bear and just tied a golden ribbon around his neck to give him a little something special. I love incorporating vintage teddy bears in my kids' rooms, and I will continue to do that as long as they'll let me. It took me a long time to commit to something to hang over his bed and put a hole in the beautiful wallpaper. But when I found this Lincoln print, I knew it was the one. He also has this tall, black, skinny, kind of layered shelf in his room that I thrifted one day, and I just wanted to use this to showcase some of his favorite things. All of these things are thrifted Goodwill finds, probably ranging anywhere from $3 to $5 each, and they not only add a lot of character to his room, but they're also things that he can pull down and play with as he pleases. My mom always finds the coolest books for my kids, and a lot of these are her doing. I love having a stack of vintage books for decor, and the kids' rooms are no exception. You would be amazed at how beautiful some of the older books can be. And my son had a pop-up book obsession at one time, and these she found are just so gorgeous. And now he's getting to the point where he not only plays with them, but he can actually read them, and that has been quite the treat. This wooden roll top desk was an incredible marketplace find. A lady had bought it and unfortunately she didn't measure properly and it didn't fit her space. So she was really just trying to get it out of her way. So we got a great deal on it. And I just want to say, if you have a child who loves being creative, mine loves to do engineering projects and Legos. So having a way to hide the clutter without destroying his work is a must. Of course, after we got this beautiful desk, I had a mission to find a chair that fit how small he is, but also fit the style of his room. I popped randomly into Habitat Restore one day and they had this incredible vintage slapback wood chair. It was filthy. I mean, it was dirty, it was dusty in all kinds of ways. So because of that, they only wanted $5 for it. I brought it home, I cleaned it up, and it is just absolutely perfect for this space. Along with my dining room table revamp, I also recently did the top of my son's desk with this gorgeous golden retriever piece. So I won't chat too much about this since most of you have probably seen it already, but you can find that full video linked below if you want to see the before and after of this transformation. So we went into an antique store one day. We were actually looking for a bed for my daughter because she was about to stage out of her crib. And we ran into one of the guys who was setting up his booth and everything, and he was saying that he thought that he had some beds, and so we exchanged numbers and everything. But my son was a little bit smaller at the time, and he was checking out the guy's booth, and he had this little truck sitting there, and it's like actually a piggy bank, and he had it priced at $60, which is outrageous. I would never pay $60 for something like this. And he was so sweet. He just gave it to my son. He just gave it to him. So that was a really sweet little blessing. And this has been something that has been at the forefront of his room. It just reminds me that people are still kind in this world. Moving on now to my daughter's room, and one of my favorite things on her bed is this gorgeous lightweight pink floral quilt. This was a secondhand piece. My mother-in-law was cleaning out her attic not too long ago, and she came across some old quilts that she had stored away and wanted to know if I wanted them. And of course, I had to say yes to this one. I love the mixed floral and the green gingham she already had on her bed. This one also goes down as one of my greatest thrift finds. I got this vintage wood bed at a local thrift shop for only $50 as she was starting to transition out of her crib. I had been on the hunt for the perfect bed and found myself just so disappointed in the retail options. A lot of the ones on Amazon were just particle board disguised as real wood, and I wanted something timeless that would last her for years to come. This little Boyd's bear was one of the first things my mom ever thrifted for my daughter when I was pregnant with her, and it really looks like it was intentionally purchased for her big girl room. This frame was a thrift find, but the swan is actually a print from Amazon. You can get some incredible prints off Amazon, and the best deals are usually the bundles. So I highly recommend that if you were looking for some cohesive gallery art. You may remember one of these round bird pictures in my kitchen gallery. I bought a set of 3 at a thrift antique store. They were marked down for $1 each, so of course I took all 3, and I think that these work so perfectly with her soft floral and bird wallpaper as a bolder contrast. When my dad passed away, my mom and I spent some time together just keeping our minds and hands busy by being crafty and making little dolls together, and we came up with this sweet little bunny. I think it looks a lot like an old thrifted piece, but it's actually just a few hours of time spent together, and as hard as that time was, it's a sweet memory looking back now. I thrifted this bouquet of flowers that I'm pretty sure someone used for their wedding because it has that nice wrapped twine around it like a wedding bouquet would, and I really love the pop of color that it adds to her, mostly soft pastel room. The swan obsession continues. I think that this is actually meant to be a little planter, but I use it in her room for little bits of jewelry, hair ties, and nail polishes. Someone had posted this handmade solid wood house for, I believe, $80 on Marketplace, and it had been on there for a while. So I just figured I'd shoot my shot and ask her if she would take $40 for it. And she did. It is almost an exact replica of one of the ones from Pottery Barn. In fact, I think it's a little bit bigger. And they run about $800, which is insane. And it's really just been the most amazing and adorable storage solution for her favorite thrifted little bears, dolls, and toys. So this is a fun little story about this cross stitch that is up in her room. When my grandmother passed away, she was really big into cross stitching, and whenever she had passed away, it was like almost a year later that we found a couple of these that were completed. And so I guess my parents' hunch was that she had made these for me and my sister. And so they had it framed for me and her for Christmas one year. And honestly, I loved it. I thought it was darling, but I didn't have anywhere to put it for a really long time. And so whenever we were redoing my daughter's room, this just fit in so perfectly. And it brings me so much joy, and I feel like she would have loved to see this sitting in her room today. Well, guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much for spending a little time in our tiny thrifted home. Every corner of this little house has a story, and I'm so glad that you stuck around for it. I really hope that this inspires you to look at your own space with fresh eyes. Even the smallest homes can feel magical, and you can create something beautiful right where you are, and you can do it frugally, slowly, and with so much heart. Lord willing, I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.